This episode is brought to you by Modal Electronics, who enable you to play and perform powerful sound with their incredible synthesizers. You can enjoy vibrant wavetable patches with the Argon 8 series, or you can produce with state-of-the-art analog-style synth textures with the Cobalt 8 series. To check out Modal Electronics' incredible array of synthesizers, go to modalelectronics.com. Modal Electronics. Dare to sound different.
I mean, watching other artists growing up from maybe when I was, 7, 8, 9 years old, from your Ushers to all the way back to your MJs, do you know what I mean? And James Browns and all those kind of artists, they set the bar for me in terms of entertainment across as a whole, not just music. When I think music, I think broader than that. It comes under entertainment, performance, all of it in kind of encompassed in one. So yeah, that's probably the first time I was kind of in awe and got to kind of love music, but to physically be like, oh man, I love music. I must have been maybe 14, maybe 15, quite late on, I think, from any musician out there. So yeah, it wasn't until I kind of got my first taste of it when I was about 14.
And were you already had you already sung and made music by that stage?
No. I'd just been in school productions, local productions, and singing was something I could just do, and music was just there. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was always sport was my thing. I always loved sport, football. That was my main focus. That was my goal as far as I was concerned at that age, to be a footballer. And it's just funny that, not that I fell into music, but obviously I kind of had music on the back burner. Like, it was something that was just there and I could do. But when I took an injury at football, it was a bit like, okay, what can I do now? And there just happened to be this thing that I was good at. I used to, just kind of fell into it. So it's kind of pot luck, but at the same time, I believe everything happens for a reason. So.
And how old were you then when you sort of gave up your dreams of football?
Was I 16 at that time? So I suppose it's hard for any teenage boy to kind of be like, that's my dream, it's cool, I'm good to go with that. But then you get injured and it's a bit like, okay, well, what now? I've just put basically my whole childhood into this, loved it.
Wow.
Was getting places, and then it's like, well, nah, switch it up.
My God, yeah, that must have been really difficult to get through. Was it a bad injury that you had?
Yeah, I wasn't able to actually have an operation. It was basically my foot. It was all to do with nerve endings, and I used to just basically it sounds really weird, but applying too much pressure on the left foot used to basically take me off my feet. And the nerve endings had to get cut out of the bottom of my left foot. So, for me at that age, I was like, just, world had come crashing down. It wasn't until I was 19 that I actually had the operation to totally fix it up, or 18 even.
God, yeah, that must have been really difficult to get through. But how long was it till you sort of thought, okay, I want to take music more seriously?
From there, it was, the injury was prone. It was there. It was kind of in my face. And it was 16 that I got my first job as soon as I had left school. So it wasn't really much time in between, to be honest. It was quite a quick jump. And it was during my exams that it was a bit like, okay, start of the year wasn't great because of everything that's been going on and blah, blah, blah. And I basically got an audition for a show that was on ITV, and music singing show for kids at the time. And I was in my exams, audition, got the part, and that was kind of the road to, the start. What should I say? The start of the road. Yeah.
And how did JLS actually come about for those people who aren't familiar? Because when were you on the X Factor? Was it in 2008? I think it was 2008.
2008. Yep.
Yeah.
2008. Yep.
And
So
how did it actually come about? Were you guys together when you went on the show, which was like the first time that had ever happened?
Yeah, we were a fully fledged band. Before that, we were gigging and trying to basically make ends meet from doing part-time jobs to kind of then getting a gig and then going, right, we have to quit this part-time job because they won't let us go and do the gig. So then we have to find another part-time job that could help fund our rehearsal space. And, you know, I was 18 at the time with that. And it was just a weird one, really, because for us, we had an end goal, but at the time we were just kind of rehearsing for nothing in particular. We would just get together, rehearse. Then obviously if a gig came up, it was a bit like, oh great, okay, cool. We actually have to plan for this gig, but we would then just rehearse with nothing in sight. That was our mentality, was to always kind of be ready. Do you know what I mean? Have songs in the bag. If someone ever walked in the room and they were like, right guys, sing, this is going to change your life. We were a bit like, we wanted to be that group that was ready.
Ready for the opportunity.
Point. So yeah, anyone that came our way, just because we had tried with, you know, we recorded some stuff and sent it to some labels and whatever else, and there was a bit like, nah, no boy bands, no thanks, boy bands aren't a thing. So we were like, oh, okay, boy bands aren't a thing, so what do we do, you know? So yeah, as I said, we then just carried on just rehearsing for ourselves and just making sure we're ready for when that time came. And it was funny, one rehearsal day came and we literally all turned to each other and just went, we should just do X Factor, shouldn't we? We should try it. All of us, exactly the same time, all together, like really weird. Hadn't had prior conversations to it. It was just, we were all on the same wavelength and we were all very ready to, you know, I suppose take that step.
Yeah. And so when you were playing gigs before X Factor, where would you play? Would you play like pubs? Would you play like local places?
Anywhere.
Just the idea of you guys singing those harmonies
Absolutely
and stuff in like a pub. Like imagine just being in your local and hearing like you guys singing those harmonies, because it's quite rare in a pub as well. Normally you get quite loud guitars and things like that.
Listen, of course, but I think one of the most daunting ones for us is we were in a nightclub, right? I think this is a nightclub somewhere in like St. Albans, and obviously when you're in a nightclub, like a pub's one thing, right? Because you might have music in the background, whatever, but a nightclub is full on loud, just music. Like you're not there to talk to each other. Do you know what I mean? It's like, we're going to go have a party.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So we were there scheduled to kind of do a gig, and we were like pulled up to this place and we're thinking, this is massive, like proper massive nightclub. Roll in, and the DJ box for one is like way up there. We're thinking, okay, that we're not all going to fit in there to do this gig. We need mics. We go, and they went, oh yeah, we've got a mic for you guys. We went, a mic? We need 4 mics. There's 4 of us. No, we've only got 1 mic and it's on the wire. Great. Okay. So honestly, we stood at the foot of a DJ box next to the dance floor. The music shut off and we sang a cappella in the middle of a nightclub. Yeah.
Did it go down well?
A pub is one thing, and it went down really well, because for us it was a bit like we just went for it, didn't care. We sang Shy If I Ever, and we were like, yeah, let's go for it. Like I'm talking full on, the very first time that I saw, like that, in the middle of a nightclub, going for it, trying to do harmonies around 1 mic, everyone pieced around it. Like listen, I've never seen that done.
I've never seen that.
So when we did it, we were on, yeah, like I'm talking, we were buzzing after that. People were like, oh, that was amazing, that was so sick. And we're thinking, yeah, it was. Then you think back and you went, that must have been awful. It must have been. There's no way that, like, listen, it might have sounded good, but there's no way to the caliber of like the performance that I've seen us do in the past. I was like, but we were leaning over to get to this mic on a wire over a DJ box, just singing it like, yeah, listen, I'm you know.
But that shows that you've got the resilience, you know, because like a lot of people would go to that gig see that setup, they'd just get so nervous they'd probably
Gone.
go home.
Yeah. Listen, years later, I dare say if we didn't have that experience, 100%, we would have been, if we were in the position that we got to, and you pull up to someone like that and they go, we've only got this mic on a wire, I'd be like, no way, nah, not happening. But the fact at that time, we were like, we do not care. We're hungry for this. We're good. We're going to get to the position that we know we can get to, but we have to do this first. Wasn't fazed by it at all. And it was, yeah, if anyone out there's got this video, I'll tell you what, I would love to see it.
That is definitely one of the gig situations that I've ever heard of, that must be, because particularly for the type of music that you guys make, it has to be so precise, like the vocals.
There you go.
It must have been crazy. And when you guys were rehearsing in those early days and before X Factor, when you were kind of, were you managing yourselves and organizing everything yourselves, you know, rehearsing harmonies, like from what I know about rehearsal rooms and stuff, like it's quite rare that you get people just off their own back rehearsing harmonies, getting the vocals sounding so good. Like, how were you guys really disciplined right from the word go? And presumably that's what made you stand out so much on X Factor. From the word go, it was a bit like, are you in? Yeah, we're in. And that was it. And as I said, there was nothing in particular that we were rehearsing for. Like, we knew, obviously knew that X Factor came and whatever else. But as I said, we were treating this as if this was our job. And we had part-time jobs to fund our job. Do you know what I mean? It was about, that's the focus. Plenty of times when it was a bit like, I've got rehearsal this evening, and you'd be at work and they'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, you've got rehearsal for what? I'm in a band. Okay. You're at work. I'm like, oh, can I go or not? No. Okay, cool. I quit. And it would be them situations over and over and over again. Like, we were in it so much that, like, listen, I apologize to anyone who had to deal with it, but I had quit so many jobs that I'm sure the admin would have been through the roof for these people. Like, just go through the whole audition interview process, get a job, be there for, I don't know, could be a matter of weeks, could be days sometimes, and just been like, yeah, I need to go and do this. This has come up. No, sorry. Okay, cool. Bye. Yeah, well, I mean, quite right. Walk out. So, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, like I didn't care. I cared enough to kind of, you know, at that time we were all, you know, obviously they say now work smarter instead of working harder. But it was a bit like we were doing both. We really were doing both, and we was a bit like, listen, we're going to work just as smart as we are hard. Like, this is what we're funding here. Everyone's putting in. If you can't afford it this week, then I get you, and then you get me when you get paid. But do you know what I mean? It was just that thing. We just didn't bat an eyelid to it. It was a professional, I suppose, a professional outfit from the go. That's so incredible. And it's actually so rare that you manage to find a group of people so focused together on one really ambitious dream that they're actually willing to, you know, work to fund it. How did you guys meet, for the people who don't know? So the way we met, I met Marvin first, just on the audition circuit, singing for random shows, other random music projects. So he was the first person that I'd met with. Arishe basically was then introduced to me through Marvin, as them two were originally talking about, you know, let's start our band up and let's try and get some members for it. Marvin then went, you should speak to this guy, Aston. I know this guy. I then met Rish, and then after that, it was us three for a little while, a good few weeks, until we then auditioned. All of us basically were auditioning a fourth. Then we found JB after a few weeks, and it was, we knew from the off. We was like, yeah, cool, this guy, it works. We had seen others, and we were like I said, we put on auditions for this thing, like it was something that people had to be a part of. Three of us were like, we're going to put on proper auditions in the stage, all these that, like, we put on
promotion to come down to the studio we were rehearsing at the time and come on audition for this band. Again, there was nothing. There was no label behind it. There's no management behind it. It was just us three going, yeah, does anyone want to sing? Like that just, like, to me now, I just go, that's nuts. Now you see things that are being promoted out there going, we've got this label and this management company are looking for X, Y, and Z. And, this company's looking for this and blah, blah, blah. Not, three people are looking for someone else to sing. Anyone fancy coming and joining? That's basically what it was.
Yeah. So, and that's why it's so cool because, and hopefully for people listening who didn't know these facts, because obviously, JLS, extremely famous. There's that association with X Factor. But what's really cool about it is the authenticity of the fact you guys were funding rehearsal studios, working, auditioning people before the label got involved, before X Factor. And I think that translates to how great, when you won X Factor, the JLS album, that came out in 2009. I mean, do you have great memories of recording that? I mean, those songs, in my mind, are some of the best songs of that decade, and I speak as someone who's like obsessed with like Smokey Robinson, Temptations, all the great soul greats. And then also people like harmony bands like Crosby, Stills and Nash and Eagles and people like that. And like some of the harmonies are just wicked. You didn't hear that in the radio. You don't hear that now. Like Everybody in Love, like the way that you guys layer the vocals. What was it like being in the studio? And were you guys excited and found it really easy? Or was it a difficult album to make?
Yeah. Well, listen, firstly, thank you, because the associations there are nothing shy of great. So thank you for that. That's a compliment in itself. But yeah, that album honestly was definitely one of the many highlights in my life. That, it's still what resonated with all four of us were them early days that I was speaking about. And we would just be cracking up at the fact of going, we're on a flipping plane going to LA to work with some of the biggest producers in the world, when a year ago we might have been sitting in Fulham Broadway, just trying to go like, oh, Brian, can I just borrow a couple of quid? I'm gonna I'll get you back. Just before rehearsal, like I want to get a bottle of water and some food and stuff like that. And Like I've only got enough for the train to get home. Blah blah blah. And we were like, this is nuts. Like the flip was crazy, but it's the fact that we were still talking about those times that I think still kept us humble but kept us excited. I think it was the excitement. If anyone ever kind of saw any headlines of JLS out here and doing this, and that's because we were so excited. We were like, why? Like, we're not sleeping. We're happy to wake up at the crack of dawn and keep going. And then after we keep going, we're going out later that night. We'll still get up at 5, 6, whatever. We don't care. Like, we were just enjoying life. We were, as I said, flying all over the world to record vocals with people that you hear the name and you go, whoa, okay. And then it's a bit like, you hear the songs, they come back and you're going, oh my God, they're just as good as you think they're gonna be. Like they're better. That you're just going, wow, like this session went amazing, and I learned this about my voice from this person, and just musically I learned about, I don't know, I never really sing over there in this type of harmony, but they added this layer to my voice, and it's just, it was an education for all of us, such an enjoyable time that, like, and at the same time, listen, it was being paid for by the label. We'd now been signed. It was a bit like, go, we believe in you to do this. Go and make this record. This is what we think you can do. So the fact that someone was funding that for us and we weren't having to kind of put our hustle into a side hustle so we could get that going. It was a bit like, we can now focus on the main hustle only.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we were fully in it, and we were like, this is what happens when we're fully in it. Oh, okay. This is why we were doing that. We knew, do you know what I mean? We knew why we were doing it, but to us, it was becoming evident more so, because it was going, this is happening. we're here. Wow, Beat Again's there. And even from recording Beat Again, we recorded Beat Again, and but basically, sorry, we had heard a demo of Beat Again. Everyone was a bit like, okay, cool, like it. We need to hear our voices on it because this is so different. Like we didn't really expect this to be a first record if this was going to be it. We need to see what we sound like. We recorded that record. A week later, we were in the same studio and it was being premiered on Radio 1. We were like,
my God, that's so quick. Yeah.
Like crazy. We were like, that song originally written by Steve Mack and Wayne Hector. And you're going, Steve Mack and Wayne Hector, what? Like, these are some of the biggest producer-songwriter names in history. Do you know what I mean? If you don't know who Steve Mack is now, it's a bit like his current stuff is probably most of the Ed Sheeran stuff, for instance. Wayne Hector, everything from the Westlife to Nicki Minaj, like, and everything in between. Do you know what I mean? It's like these guys were doing everything. And we, just sitting in the studio. Yeah, it's calm. We're sitting there recording vocals. And then Steve kind of calls us, like, one of us at the booth and going, listen. Turns the radio on and it's like, it's on. We're all standing in the studio like, this is crazy. Like, doesn't make any sense. Like, we just done the song, did it? But it was all happening that fast, so quickly. Like the excitement was just.
Yeah, and quite right that you guys, went out and enjoyed it, especially after coming from literally, when you were working and you're telling people I've got a rehearsal in the evening for this band that I'm in, and everybody, no matter what they're pursuing, if it's something a bit ambitious, you're going to get people being like, yeah, sure, you're in a band, mate, like, good luck. And then, like, there you are, flying to LA, you've won X Factor, your records are huge hits, and things must have been quite fast moving, like almost like a blur, in the sense that you guys released an album every year for the first 4 years. There was JLS, Out of This World, Jukebox, and Evolution. All in my mind, great albums. But do you have a favorite from them? And why did you guys stop making records after that?
The favorite. I mean, it was. Listen, our first album, I think that's our most iconic. That's our most iconic album. We go, that was the one. That was always going to be hard to beat. The anticipation of kind of, well, let's see what you guys have got. And then it basically blew everybody's kind of anticipation out the water. Like, it just blew all opinions away, everything. And we were like, whoa, this has gone crazy. Like, we thought, okay. But we knew we'd do okay, but not, this isn't okay. This is gone. Like, this is gone clear. We're like, wow, this is amazing. Everybody joyed about it. And we was like, yep, great. For me personally, I think I love the music of Evolution, just because it just added a little bit more R&B soul to everything. It was a little bit more edgy than anything we kind of done. And again, yeah, we were still crazy young at the time, but we wanted to experiment with music. We wanted to experiment with different producers. We wanted to grow up a little bit. In all honesty, I think that was the main thing, was like, we want to grow up a little bit and write songs that are a bit more risky and just kind of push the boundaries a little bit, So after we had done that record, it was, coming to the end of our deal, and we was a bit like, geez, as I said, we're still stupidly young. We'd been kind of on this annual rotation for years now. Go right, do a record, promo the record, do another record, promo the record, do a record, promo the record, go on tour, come back, right, do that. Like, it was just a constant rotation of that. And we were like, whoa, okay, this is nuts. Like, what else does this industry have to offer? Like, we've managed to hit all heights and tick off a hell of a lot from our goals list. As I said, because we were all still mad young, we was like, what else can we do? You know, is there other stuff for us to do? We'll come to the end of our contract, and we're like, do we want to renew that, or do we want to kind of put everything to the side for a little while and see what else is out there in this industry that we've kind of, you know, broken into and cemented our kind of place in as such. So yeah, for us, we was a bit like, all right, let's now put an album together of our greatest hits, songs that we feel are up there and worthy to kind of be able to go on tour with again. And that was it from there. As I said, we just wanted to kind of test the waters in other avenues in the industry and still be, I suppose, young enough to come back if we ever wanted to come back as well. So, you know.
Yeah, of course. And I want to talk about you guys, you know, having a reunion and going on the road. But first I wanted to talk about your solo career and Overboard, which is, you know, super catchy and just a great record. And I mean, Get Stupid was a huge record, you know, millions of streams. What's it been like pursuing your own career, and are you as ambitious to kind of go solo as you are with JLS? You know, like, what's it like kind of dividing your ambition? Because I mean, obviously you've got time for both. You're very hardworking, but you know, what is it more like you're trying to have fun solo, or are you ambitious? Because I mean, you're making some great records and very catchy. So it'd be great to hear like a full album.
Yeah. To be honest, I was, you know, at the time when I had Get Stupid, I was a bit like, I think I was overly ambitious. I think I was working too hard, and almost kind of, you know, put everything that I'd ever done on a pedestal and was working too hard to get it. I know it sounds weird to everyone be like, you can't work too hard to get something, whatever. And it's a bit like, well, yeah, because you overwork it and you overcook everything. And it's, you know, I applied, I think, so much pressure to myself at that time. And it was a bit like, I was just kind of going with it and not enjoy it. Like, as I said, when we did the first JLS record, I was loving it. I was enjoying it. It was part of the process. It was, you know, whereas trying to make my first record was quite stressful. And I was like, I was just kind of not having as much fun because I was trying to apply what I suppose I felt, not trying to apply, I felt the pressure more so. And I was a bit like, right, I need to just chill and make music, you know? And it's very much that, just very much that feeling of, why do you do it? And I suppose I didn't really know. Whereas now, fast forward to everything, I'm a bit like, you know, sorry, phone's ringing away. I was very much like releasing Overboard and other songs. Now I'm like, I'm just releasing music because I love music. That's it. That's the only reason I choose to release stuff now, just because everything else that comes off it is a bonus. Everything that comes off me releasing a record is a bonus. I'm putting music out there for people. They can have it, do whatever you want with it, enjoy it. Like right now, if you want to talk to me about it, that's a bonus. I'm like, that's cool. I want to get back to that place where I go, yeah, let me just go make music. It's fine. If people want to talk about it and they appreciate it and they like it, great. If not, great. Yeah. I'm still making music. I'm still putting music out there. I'm not putting music out there for anybody else but me, you know? So
yeah. It's just, I guess it's, you know, not putting too much pressure on yourself because you've already achieved, you know, like so much stuff that people would only dream of achieving. And it's like anybody who's had massive success, like if you keep on putting that pressure on yourself, I've got to do it every single time, every single song. I can't imagine what it's like. It must be like a mental trap.
Like, that's, you know what, that's exactly it. You feel trapped. Do you know what I mean? You can't, not that you, no, to be fair, it's not that you feel trapped. It's that you just feel pressured into doing things for everybody else and not you. And then it becomes a job.
Yeah. And it takes,
do you know what I mean? It's a bit like, it takes all the joy out of it. And this is the most fun job in the world because it doesn't feel like one. And then it's a bit like you kind of go, oh, great. Okay, I'm going to promo a record now. And if it doesn't do well, then, you know, what am I going to do? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, come on. Like, that's not why some of the greats did it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's why even now they just go, I just release records now because I release records. I tour now because I enjoy touring. Like, great, the money, whatever that comes with it, cool. But that's not what was there the first time round. There was no money the first time round, most probably. But you did it because you loved it.
You were investing in your future. That's how much you loved it because you wanted to do it. So
that's it.
It's great that you've recaptured that. And so JLS are due to go on the road. But what is the, because today there was an announcement for coronavirus, and I think that it was June the 21st is basically when, if all goes to plan, vaccination and you know, cases reducing and stuff, June the 21st, you know, as far as I know, if I'm not getting confused, everything's open. Clubs are open, gigs are open,
everything.
You name it. I mean,
yeah, as you can tell, like all afternoon, the phone has been buzzing, and obviously that's basically smack bang in the middle of our tour.
Yeah.
So for us, we're like, okay, that's indication, but at the same time, it's a bit like, that's just indication. Like, there's no, like, we see the plan, but is this kind of cemented? Is this Bible? Is this? So listen, as you could imagine, we've sent hundreds of messages on. I think managers and companies are kind of like, leave us alone for a minute. Let us see what's going on. We need to see everything, because it's hard. The hard thing for us is this situation is bigger than any music, any one of us. This is a global pandemic. So we're just very much in the kind of, you know, the hands of leaders as such, to kind of go, okay, what's allowed, what's not allowed, what can we do, what can't we do? We kind of have to sit and wait, which is obviously annoying, but at the same time we go, as annoying it is for people that want to come to the show or are due to come to the show, you know, we're there with you. We want to be on that stage. We want to be performing. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we go, let's just put it on and we're happy for it to get pushed back. Like, we're the first ones that want to be, you know, right in that arena and singing those songs to everyone. So it's been a long time coming. You know, it's been years. So when we know, as we always said, when we know, you know, that's the.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, fingers crossed, and I'm sure even if it's not exactly June, it will probably be, you know, it's not going to be decades away. Let's put it that way. You know,
my God, listen,
it will be this year probably.
We're more than hopeful, and we're like, June, let's roll. We're ready. Let's get it going. Just let us know. Give us the green flag. Bam. Right, we're good to go. So. Yeah, as I said, as soon as we know, you know, but it's
really exciting.
As you said, whenever it's happening, it's 100% happening. So it doesn't.
And when was the last time that you guys performed together?
So the last time, I suppose the promo period was the last time we performed together. But before that, that would have been 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
a good
been
7 year hiatus, 6.5, 7 years. Yeah. So
it's going to be really exciting, and it will show you. I mean, you guys are playing some big venues, like multiple nights at the O2.
back to the big ones.
So it's,
Yeah.
I mean, it shows that these songs have got like timeless. It hasn't been like, oh, you guys were big and then it kind of went down. It's like you guys are as big as ever. So how does that feel?
It's just the biggest compliment ever, really. You can't. I don't know many people that can go away for that long, do their final show at the O2, basically wave bye to 20,000 people and then come back and do the exact same thing years later. Older, uglier, just trying to stay in the gym and try and look as young as you once used to, move like you once used to, and sound like you once used to. But listen, hey, we're trying, and people are, invested in it. So we're like, okay, cool. Like we're game. We're ready. We're all. As I said, we're just looking forward to it. We're excited. So I think for us, that's the main thing. It's the excitement. The excitement of it all is just driving us forward to go, yeah, we can't wait.
If you're enjoying the Greatest Music of All Time podcast, you can keep up to date with all of our latest episodes for free by subscribing. If you're watching on YouTube, the subscribe button is located at the top of the Tom Cridland YouTube page. It's also at the bottom right of any video that you watch on YouTube. If you're listening on an audio platform, such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can subscribe at the top of the page.